Bill Reynolds was broke, desperate, and alone when he stumbled across the ad caretaker needed, Whispering Pines Pet Cemetery. The job promised a roof over his head and pay that seemed too good to be true. He should have questioned it, but desperation doesn't leave room for second-guessing. When Bill arrived, the cemetery was shrouded in fog, with weathered headstones stretching as far as the eye could see. An old man was waiting for him at the gate, pale and hunched like he was carrying the weight of some unspeakable secret. "You'll hear some strange things," the old man warned, his eyes darting to the graves as if they were alive. "Just ignore them." Bill chuckled nervously, brushing it off as the ramblings of an old man. But by midnight, he realized the warning was no joke. That first night, the sound started, faint scratching, like claws scraping against wood. At first, Bill thought it was a raccoon. Whispering Pines was isolated, surrounded by woods, so it made sense. Flashlight in hand, he went outside to investigate. The fog was thick, wrapping around the headstones like ghostly fingers. He scanned the cemetery, but nothing moved. Then the scratching grew louder. This time it wasn't coming from above ground. It was coming from beneath. Bill froze as the sound intensified. The earth at one of the graves began to shift, the loose dirt trembling. He stumbled back, his breath hitching. "It's just the wind," he whispered to himself. But his shaking hands betrayed his fear. The scratching didn't stop. It was joined by a faint, haunting whine, like a dog crying for help. By the third night, Bill hadn't slept. The scratching, whining, and faint growls had become a nightly torment. They grew louder, closer, and more insistent. He walked the cemetery with his flashlight, hoping to find some rational explanation. That's when he saw it. Two glowing eyes stared at him from the edge of the woods. They were too large to belong to any animal he'd ever seen. A low growl echoed through the still night air, deep and guttural. "Who's there?" Bill called to me, his voice trembling. The growl became a roar, loud enough to rattle his bones. "Awesome." He turned to run, but his foot caught on a grave marker, sending him sprawling to the ground. When he looked up, the glowing eyes were right in front of him, unblinking. Terrified, Bill stormed into the old man's house the next day. "What the hell is going on?" he demanded. "What's out there?" The old man sighed deeply, his eyes hollow. "It's not the pets you should fear," he said quietly. "It's their owners." He explained that Whispering Pines was built over sacred Native American land. The land had been cursed long ago when settlers began burying their pets there instead of their loved ones. The spirits of the animals were betrayed, abandoned here instead of being laid to rest with their families, the old man said. And their owners, they're still looking for them. Bill's stomach turned. "Why didn't you tell me this before?" he shouted. The old man met his eyes, his voice steady. "You wouldn't have taken the job.